Today I'm going to show you 7 things, 7 lessons that you can learn from watching fish underwater at the beach to help you catch more fish. And keep watching to the end because the last one confirms a big mistake that I see a lot of surf anglers make that keeps them from catching more fish. Hi there, if you're new to my channel, my name is Kathy Sanders and I'm a beach fishing guide here in Northeast Florida, and one of my favorite things to do when I'm at the beach fishing is to throw the underwater camera out in the water and to see exactly what fish are there and what they're doing. So let's get started. A few weeks ago, we were fishing near a shipwreck in Ormond Beach. There was more activity that day than we had seen in a long time. So as I play this footage, I'll be showing you 7 lessons that you can learn from watching these fish in the video, and I know at least one of them will help you catch more fish from the beach. So here we go. Lesson number 1, you can learn what baits certain fish show preference to. We have a school of bluefish coming in, and I have sand flea on the hook that's closest to the camera, and I have cut bait on the second one. We see these bluefish kind of circling. They keep coming back around. They keep almost getting hooked up. Pecks once at the sand flea there. And here we have this bluefish comes back. I'm going to slow this down because he comes down, and as this is getting all churned up, he's actually almost hooked up on that back piece of cut bait. Next we have a little black drum that comes in, and he starts pecking away at that sand flea. And not too long after, we have a pompano that comes in, and he is circling around. He keeps biting away on the sand flea there, and we'll see throughout this video, this pompano and others, they just will not let that sand flea go. They just keep going after it and keep going after it. And even after the sand flea was gone, they would still keep coming back after the Fishgum and keep pecking away at it. Okay, lesson number 2, you can learn certain behavior patterns of the fish that you're targeting. And so specifically here, we can see schools of fish, whether they're loners or if they swim in schools. We got a pair of ladyfish. We usually are seeing them 2 at a time. There they are again, 2 of them. And they keep coming back around to the camera. Just 2 of these ladyfish hanging out together. There they are again. We see 2 of them. And then we have schools of mohara. A whole bunch of them just came through. We'll slow that down. Let's see if we can count them there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at least, maybe more in the back. And we've got a little school of pompano here. We see pompano swim in schools all the time. Same with whiting. There's more pompano in schools. Typically when we see black drum, we're going to see just one black drum by himself, like this little guy. There's a black drum by himself with the school of mohara. I mean, at least he was hanging out with some buddies. We usually see whiting in our videos, and those are usually in schools. And when we see flounder, they're always by themselves too. So you can see those behavior patterns. Next up, number 3, you can learn how to determine the water clarity better. And this kind of goes without saying. We started fishing pretty early, so it's hard at sunrise to tell what the water clarity is like, but as the sun rises, you can see how clean it is. But even on days when I thought it looked clean from the surface of the water, when I looked at underwater footage like today, I was surprised at how dirty the water still was. Just like in this video, it seemed cleaner than it really was. Thankfully, though, we didn't see any catfish hanging around, but we were seeing a lot of pompano. They were small in the footage, but like this little guy here, still that water was a lot dirtier than what we expected it to be. Looking at that underwater footage, and when you compare it to what you're seeing on the surface, you might be able to have a better idea next time you're out. Lesson number 4, you can learn how easily and quickly a fish can pop off the hook. And this is a big one. Here we have a bluefish, we have a couple of bluefish, later on we have a pompano, and we have a black drum that's going to be hooking up. And I slowed this down here. You can see he's hooked up in like within seconds, not even a second. Here's another bluefish. Here he's hooked on, and he is shaking it right off. And then here's this black drum. Gets hooked up. He's on maybe a little bit longer, 10, 15 seconds, but if you think about the amount of time, and we did have a ladyfish in the bottom there too, so when you watch it slower, look for that ladyfish. But I have people who leave negative comments on these underwater footage videos that have a lot of fish in them and we don't have any hookups, that it seems like a video of how not to catch fish. But let me tell you, with 10 ounces of weight in the camera and the Sputnik combined, it's really hard to see the bites, especially if the fish are small, especially if it's windy or the surf is rough. So take that in consideration. And there's more than realize that's going on there. But this is why we run to our lines when they're getting hit. It's so easy for them to pop off. But here's a fish that didn't pop off, this nice redfish caught in the same spot. Lesson number 5, you can learn how skittish or tenacious certain fish are. We're going to start out with a bluefish that keeps coming around. He swims by, comes a little closer, and then he comes in to take a bite. This is the same hookup we talked about earlier, but you can see that after he gets off the hook, he or maybe one of his friends are still coming around for more. So this is the same thing that we see with pompano. And we also see this on Tony and Fagione's underwater footage videos too, where pompano will just keep coming back and keep coming back. They do not give up too easily. You can tell they want this sand flea. And this one might be a little bit too big for these guys, which might be why they can't hook up on it until after the sand flea is gone, which I'm pretty sure a speckled crab stole, and we're going to get to that next. Lesson number 6, you can tell how important it is to rebait often because of stolen bait. And this is usually either from crabs. Here we got Mr. Crab. You can see his claw right in the camera, and I slowed this down here so you can see that he's right there next to the camera. We've got 2 crabs in this video, a speckled crab and a nice blue crab. Both of them hang around for a while. They're messing with the camera, they're messing with the bait, and by 7 minutes in on the video footage, that sand flea was stolen off the hook. So that is another reason why it's really good to use a synthetic bait like Fishgum, because it's going to be a bit harder for them to get stolen off the hook. They're going to have to actually cut it off with their claws, which they do. But even if they're just taking off your sand flea, you're still going to have bait that the fish are attracted to. So here we go, another crab. We slowed it down here. I took a look at him, and we're going to see Mr. Crab stealing that sand flea. Now we've got this blue crab, look to the right, and he's sneaking in. We usually don't see the blue crabs, so that was pretty cool on this video. And last but not least, lesson number 7, it's a really simple thing. You can learn the zones of where the fish are swimming. So I'm going to play a lot of footage here over while I'm talking. You're going to see a lot of fish swimming near the camera. And I see a lot of anglers who make a big mistake, and they are not fishing where the fish are at. A lot of times these fish are close to the shore. Now, granted, some of these are smaller fish, but what are the bigger fish going to eat? They're going to go after these smaller bait fish. So you can't underestimate how close these fish are running to the shore. While we're busy casting our lines to Cuba, we might be totally overcasting all of the fish. You know, I can't toss this camera out too far in case it would break off. I try not to throw it too crazy, but 95% of the time when I throw it out there, we see a lot of fish like in this video. There's days when we would hardly be catching anything, and I would be going home and was baffled to see so much activity on the underwater camera. Sometimes really, really nice fish that we were trying so hard to catch. They were close up, and I had been overcasting the whole time. So, you know, there's seasons and times when we fish, when we're targeting are likely to be farther out, like pompano when they're around the sandbar and things like that. So it's good to keep a few lines out farther, but think about it. These smaller bait fish, sand fleas, things like that, redfish, pompano, flounder, black drum, all of those things want to feed on these little bait fish, on all these sand fleas and things that are close to shore. They're going to be coming up closer. And just an interesting tidbit of information. All of the redfish, almost all of them that I've caught, the slot size ones, were within 20 yards of the shoreline. So I'm going to give you a little bit of homework here. The next time you go out fishing, I want you to keep one of your lines closer to the shoreline, especially first thing in the morning, trust me, as the sun is rising. And if you've got more than one line out, throw one of them close to the shore, I mean within like 10 yards, and you might be surprised what you might be able to hook on, something good close to the shoreline. So that's a wrap for our video today. I hope that it's helped you to see what's happening on the other end of the line. We don't usually get to see that, so that's what I think is so much fun about having a Go Fish Cam. If you know someone who likes watching fish underwater, please feel free to share this video out. If you're not subscribed, you're gonna wanna subscribe, hit that like button. But thanks so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and until next time, tight lines and God bless.